I'm Miss Kit, and I'm so glad to welcome you tonight to Starrytime. How's everyone doing tonight? Let's get started by singing our hello song. You say hello, and I'll say hello, and we'll say hello together. You'll say hello, and I'll say hello, in warm or wintry weather. How about you'll sing a song and I'll sing a song? You'll sing a song and I'll sing a song, and we'll sing a song together. You'll sing a song and I'll sing a song, in warm or wintry weather. Well, how about if we get our wiggles out first before we read our stories? This is something we've done before, and it's important to remember, because we're going to use this in our little wiggle rhyme, the American Sign Language sign for stop. So you take one hand and then you chop on it with the other hand like this. That's right. Stop. So we're going to wiggle and we're going to stop, and we're going to roll and we're going to stop, and we're going to fly and we're going to stop, and then we'll stretch and we'll stop. So let's start with wiggling. We wiggle and we wiggle and we wiggle and we wiggle and we stop. We wiggle and we wiggle and we wiggle and we wiggle and we stop. We wiggle and 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 we stop. Next, we roll. Can you roll with your arms like this? We roll and we roll and we roll and we roll and we stop. We roll and we roll and we roll and we roll and we stop. We roll and 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 stop. Next, we fly. We fly and we fly and we fly and we fly and we stop. We fly and we fly and we fly and we fly and we stop. We fly and 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 we stop. Next, we stretch. Let's get a good stretch going. We stretch and we stretch and we stretch and we stretch and we stop. We stretch and we stretch and we stretch and we stretch and we stop. We stretch and 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 we stop. Okay, now that we've got all those stretches and wiggles out of our system, let's start by reading some stories. I'm going to read some stories tonight. I'm going to use my glasses about some people who might be familiar to you. For example, have you heard of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs? Well, this is a story about Snow White and the 77 dwarves. Really? That's a lot. And it was written by Davide Colli and illustrated by Raffaella Barbanegre. Once upon a time, somewhere deep in the woods, a girl named Snow White was running away from a terrible witch. She came across a tiny house that belonged to 77 dwarves. The dwarves were very kind. They said Snow White could stay with them if she would help them with their chores. Snow White could see right away that life with the dwarves might be difficult. For starters, how was she going to learn all their names? I mean, look at all of these names. Let's read some of them. There's Kabuki and Chicory and Rudolph and Coconut and Knick-Knack and Beaver and Oak and Pillow and Smell Fungus and a lot more. And there was a lot to do. First came the laundry. Then there was beard maintenance. Look at all of those beards lined up to get a trim and a comb. That's a lot of work. After that, every dwarf wanted a bedtime story. His own bedtime story. How did she come up with so many stories for 77 dwarves? She looks tired to me. Early the next morning, everyone was ready for breakfast. All at the same time, of course. Then there were 77 little lunches to pack, with a sandwich and a juice box in each. Before Snow White could even blink, it was time for dinner. Hey, I didn't ask for onions on my hamburger. And where are my pickles? Those are some demanding dwarves. Maybe some of you guys could help me, said Snow White. After all that, she still had the dishes to wash. What do you think she thinks? Not getting any help. I don't see any dwarves helping out with the dishes. She's exhausted. Yes, the dwarves were kind, but they were also messy, rambunctious, naughty, and yes, very loud. The place was a zoo. It was all too much for Snow White. She decided to leave and take her chances with the witch. She was so tired. Would you like a nice poisoned apple, young girl? Said the witch. Snow White said, I'll take 2. Now, somewhere deep in the woods, a girl named Snow White is sleeping, waiting to be woken by a kiss. Oh, no, she's not. Her sign says, please don't wake me up. Thank you. She was too tired, and she's finally getting her rest. So now we're going to read a story about dragons. But before we do the story, let's do a little finger play about dragons. One's named Jack and the other name's Jill. 2 little dragons sitting on a hill, one named Jack and the other named Jill. Fly away, Jack. Fly away, Jill. Come back, Jack. Come back, Jill. 2 little dragons sitting on a cloud, one named Quiet and the other named Loud. Fly away, Quiet. Fly away, Loud. Come back, Quiet. Come back, Loud. 2 little dragons sitting on the grass, one named Slow and the other named Fast. Fly away, Slow. Fly away, Fast. Come back, Slow. Come back, Fast. Now let's read a story about dragons. This one is called Dragon Was Terrible. And it was written by Kelly DiPuccio, and the pictures are by Greg Pizzoli. dragon was terrible. Naturally, dragons have a bit of terrible in them because they're dragons, after all. But this dragon here, super terrible. He stomped on flowers. He played tricks on the guards. That's not nice. And he spit on cupcakes. Who does that? Dragon, that's who. That's not all. He scribbled in books. He threw sand. And he took candy from baby unicorns. Honestly, that's terrible. The king had had enough. Enough, he said. And he posted this sign. Brave knights, whoever shall tame the terrible dragon shall be rewarded with a gift. It shall be a nice gift. Ye shall like it. His Royal Majesty, the King. But can you see who scribbled on the wall? It says, dragon was here. That terrible dragon. Knights lined up to show off their dragon taming skills. They all failed miserably, and dragon just grew more terrible. He chased fuzzy yellow ducklings around the moat. He TP'd the castle, and he burned every last royal marshmallow to a blackened crisp. The villagers had had enough. Enough, they said, and they posted this sign. Brave people, whoever shall tame the terrible dragon shall be rewarded with a gift from the king. It shall be a nice gift, we hope. Ye shall like it, perhaps. His Royal Majesty the King. But look who scribbled on the wall again. Dragon was here again. Ordinary blokes and lassies lined up to try their hand at taming the dragon. They all failed. Embarrassingly so, and just when you thought it wasn't possible, dragon grew even more terrible. He popped birthday balloons. He drew funny faces on the drawbridge. This one says, King is a baby. And he burped in church, loudly. Honestly, that's terrible and rude. A boy wearing a feathered cap and a look of determination had had enough. Only he didn't say enough like you thought he would. Instead, he sketched a story. The next day, Dragon followed a trail of marshmallows to a shady tree where the boy was reading. The boy spied the dragon out of the corner of his eye and began to read aloud in a booming voice. And then the brave dragon swooped in to save the princess, he said. Dragon stopped in his tracks. But the terrible knight pulled out his wicked sword. Dragon pretended not to listen. The brave dragon roared, and the fraidy cat knight trembled in his boots. Dragon pretended to walk away. But he's really listening, isn't he? A crowd began to gather, and Dragon took cover in a tree. The boy continued reading, page after page after page. It was very exciting. Looks like Dragon climbed up on a tree branch until, snap, crash, Dragon landed on the ground with a terrible thud. The crowd gasped. The dragon roared. The clever boy didn't flinch. He reached out a hand to the dragon and said, "Would you like to hear how the story ends?" And just when you thought it wasn't possible, Dragon smiled, and he took a seat beneath the tree with the other children. Honestly, that's adorable. The king cheered. The villagers cheered. Hooray! The baby unicorn and fuzzy ducklings cheered the loudest of all. Hooray! Hooray! At long last, the terrible dragon had been tamed. The end. Hey, wait. What about the reward? Oh, yes. The gift was a new friend. A nice dragon, of course. So next is not a story about a dragon, but it's a story called Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Are you used to hearing Goldilocks and the Three Bears? This one has a different name for the person who comes upon the Three Bears' house. Her name is Goldilocks. Can you guess why? Because she's a goat, that's why. So this book was written by Erica S. Pearl and illustrated by Arthur Howard. Once upon a time, there was a kid named Goldilocks. She lived down the road from a family of bears. When the bears went out for a walk one morning, well, you can probably guess what Goldilocks did. Inside the bear's house, Goldilocks found 3 bowls of porridge. She tasted the big bowl, but it was too hot. She tasted the medium bowl, but it was too cold. Then she tasted the little bowl. It was just right. So she ate it. The little spoon, too. Burp. She ate the whole thing, the bowl and everything. Next, Goldilocks found 3 chairs. She tried the big chair, but it was too hard. She tried the medium chair, but it was too soft. Then she tried the little chair. Ooh, it was just right. So, can you guess? What did she do? She ate it, cushions and all. I guess it's yummy for a goat. At this point, Goldilocks began to feel sleepy. Upstairs, she found 3 beds. She tested the big bed, but it was too lumpy. She tested the medium bed, but it was too squishy. Then she tested the little bed. It was just right. So she ate it, plus the blanket, 2 pillows, and a pair of pajamas. Then, with a contented sigh, Goldilocks fell fast asleep. Shortly thereafter, the bears came home. You can probably imagine the commotion. "Someone has been eating my porridge," said Papa Bear. "Someone has been eating my porridge," said Mama Bear.
"Hey, where's my porridge?"
said Baby Bear. "Get a load of this," called Papa Bear from the dining room. "Someone has been sitting in my chair." "Gracious," said Mama Bear. "Someone has been sitting in my chair."
"Hey, where's my chair?"
asked Baby Bear. They found the culprit upstairs. "My bed!" wailed Baby Bear. "It's gone!" Goldilocks opened her eyes. Above her stood 3 bears. Quickly, she jumped up and hoofed it for home, which probably sounds like the end of the story, but the next day, Goldilocks woke up feeling a little, well, sheepish. She wanted to make things right with her neighbors, but how? Outside, she found her answer. How could the bears resist? Her gift was so pretty, so thoughtful. It was just right. Look at that, a big bunch of flowers for the 3 bears. It was just right. So they ate it. Burp. That's a silly story, but a good one. Well, my friends, it's time for the end of Starrytime. How did it go by so quickly? Let's sing our goodbye song. You remember the song we always sing at the end of Starrytime. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. Good night, Starrytime friends. I hope you sleep well, and we'll see you next time.